Offseason workout program. And today, the Washington Commanders had in a host of players, including the top prospects at quarterback that they would consider drafting next week with the number 2 overall selection. They had Jaden Daniels in, they had Michael Penix in, they had J.J. McCarthy and Drake May. All the top quarterback prospects. Again, I think the prevailing wisdom around the league is that Jaden Daniels is in line to become the 2nd overall pick. But this was a chance for the Commanders to spend more time with Jaden Daniels as well as the other quarterback prospects to see if they could firm up their decision to go in a certain direction in regards to which quarterback they would like to take at number 2.
Adam with us all show, a lot to get to. He's got some more draft buzz coming later. Bill Belichick, by the way, was on the Pat McAfee show today. He was asked about the Commanders hosting so many prospects at once.
Yeah, no, that wasn't. We weren't real big on that. It wasn't more of a recruiting for us. It was informational gathering. But I think we had maybe as many as a dozen come in on the same day, and a lot of times we'd combine the groups. So quarterbacks, tight ends, receivers. So that we could interact and work with them individually, but also collectively. Yeah, I can see bringing in a lot of guys at one time. It is an efficient way to use the visit time for your staff, because the more you tie your staff up on those visits, then the less productive you can be doing other things.
I got to say, when you got all those Lombardis behind you, you do frame your shot that way. Like, you leave a lot of head space up at the top, Lou.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, that's an amazing flex.
Yeah.
What do you think, Lewis, of the Commanders hosting all these quarterback prospects at the same time?
Yeah, look, I understand what Bill is saying. You know, there are teams that will bring in a bunch of guys, and really there's some teams that'll do it all at one time. Maybe like within 2 days, 3 days, they'll bring all 30 guys in. But see, here's the difference with Washington. Washington, in essence, has the number 1 overall pick, because you can just go ahead and basically remove Chicago because you know who they're taking. So really the draft starts in terms of the intrigue and in terms of the speculation with Washington, right? So if you, at this point, you're probably pretty locked in on who you're going to. The only reason you would do this right now is because you're not sure exactly. You're not really trying. Look, you don't have to do anything for anybody's sake. You don't have to run any kind of smoke screen. You don't have to do anything. You're basically in the driver's seat. You have the whole draft minus probably Caleb Williams at your disposal. So for me, what this sounds like, and if you kind of like bounce around the league and talk to people, I'm sure that to me it sounds like there's not consensus. Although for me, this is easy. Like as soon as Caleb Williams' name get called, Jaden Daniels' name should get called. It almost should be simultaneous. But to me, it sounds like, and from what I hear, maybe it's not that way throughout the entire building. Maybe it's not a situation where he is just head and shoulders above Drake and above JJ and above Michael, and Bo Nix's name isn't on that list. But it doesn't sound like he is head and shoulders above. Because why else would you do this right now? Look, right now you're really trying to be efficient with your time right now. You're not trying to sit here and, hey, look, why don't we just bring this guy in? Let's talk to this guy. Hey, you know what? I haven't talked to him. Let's just have a conversation with him too. That's not the time of year this is. Things are getting tight around organizations right now, if you know what I mean. Okay, people aren't real loose right now. They're kind of, especially when you're talking about picking number 2 overall, and you're picking a quarterback. This to me sounds like we are trying to find out some things and figure out some things, and some things are on the table right now.
I'll tell you the other thing that's interesting. Just compare and contrast number 1 and number 2. Chicago brought in 1 quarterback. It sent a message to Caleb Williams, you're our guy. Washington, 8 days before the draft begins, brings in a whole group of quarterbacks. So the message to any one of these particular quarterbacks is, you might not be our guy. We're looking at all the guys right now.
That's
so
right.
There are differing messages being delivered to each of the quarterbacks in this particular draft class. The Bears have told Caleb Williams through their actions, you're the quarterback we're picking. You're the only one we've brought in, and that's the only team that Caleb Williams has gone and visited. But the opposite is true of Washington, whole group of guys.
Yeah, I mean, these quarterbacks are very familiar with each other. They've spent a lot of time together in this draft process and even before that in college football. But you got to imagine there's a bit of a like looking over, hey, are they talking to you? Have they said this to you? I mean, I don't know. It's interesting.